It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Nashville Soccer Club on to the League's Cup final, defeating Mexican side Monterrey in the semifinal 2-0 Tuesday night at Geodis Park. Sam Surridge, Fafa Pico, the goal scorers. The win also automatically qualifies Nashville for CONCACAF Champions League 2024. On Saturday night, Nashville Soccer Club will host Lionel Messi and Inter Miami in the League's Cup final for an 8 p.m. kickoff. The Tennessee Titans are in Minnesota. Joint practices with the Vikings taking place today and tomorrow ahead of Saturday's preseason matchup. Head coach Mike Vrabel met with the media earlier today. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? Happy hump day to you. Titans are up in Minnesota, and they're practicing, and we'll do our best to try to figure out everything that's going on, and we'll tell you as we things that are going on from the reporters who were dispatched up there to keep us all in the loop on things. There's a handful of Titans reporters up there, so we'll keep you updated on all that stuff, but we got to start. Lucas Panzica on the call last night. Oh, man. I mean, have you got like the clock winding down? Do you believe in miracles? Do you believe in Messi? Yes. What have we got from this thing?
Oh, do you believe in Messi? That's good. That's good stuff.
Words are my business,
ready,
Lucas.
Man. You got to get ready.
Oh, man. Mickey, you got to flex that play-by-play muscle more. You'd be so good in those moments to pick out the right thing to say when nobody else knows what to say.
The phone never rings for that kind of stuff, so I don't know. I'm pretty much being processed out of the back end of the machine here, it seems. But anyway, you are not, my friend. You are on the come up. So we talked about this yesterday. You talked about all the opportunities that awaited the team if they were to win this game last night, all the doors it would open up, and son of a gun, they did it.
Yep.
All those doors are now open.
They did it against a Monterrey team that is the most successful team in CONCACAF Champions League history, the competition Nashville qualified for by winning last night. So now a chance to get your first trophy as a professional club, to host the greatest player of all time, and to win League's Cup. And to advance, if you win on Saturday, not only do you qualify for CONCACAF Champions League next year, that happens no matter what, you get automatically a bye into the round of 16, skipping over the group stage if you are the winner of League's Cup. So, yeah, a lot on the line. What was last night was the biggest night in Nashville SC history, but that will now be on Saturday night. That will take the next step.
So, Lionel Messi has not scored a goal in a game yet.
Right.
He has a goal in every one of his 6 games since he arrived in Miami. I mean,
8 goals.
He has what? 8 total?
Yes.
So 8 total. He has scored in every game. So let me ask you this. For the more casual soccer fan who says, okay, I'm putting this all together. They play in the MLS, but they also play in these other tournaments as well during the season.
Which is like me. Okay. Good.
Which I think is very cool. Mm-hmm. But somebody might say, like, okay, Lucas seems super excited about this. So is this as big a deal, let's say, if they were playing for an MLS championship, or no?
So I would still say that to win MLS Cup would be the height of what you can achieve just on paper. But the circumstances here of Lionel Messi and Inter Miami playing in your home stadium and all the eyeballs that will be on it puts this as close to it as it possibly could be, in my opinion. Winning MLS Cup, you are undisputably the best team in all of Major League Soccer. You do qualify for CONCACAF Champions League, which Nashville's already qualified for now. But this is as close as it gets to winning MLS Cup. That is the highest achievement. This is so heightened, though, because of who you are facing. That plays such a massive role in it, and the amount of eyeballs and the amount of people. I can't wait to see what stars will be in the building at Geodis Park. You think Giannis Antetokounmpo will come down, part owner of Nashville Soccer Club? Giannis Antetokounmpo get a chance to come down and see Lionel Messi play for the club that he part owns?
I'm telling him
now.
So
who is bigger, Messi or Greek Freak?
Ooh, Messi. Yeah, definitely Messi.
In the world, Messi.
In the world, yeah.
In the world.
For sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the world? Okay, well, give us your top 5 in the world. Who are they?
In
sports.
In just sports across the board.
Yeah.
Ooh. Messi's in the top 5. I would say Steph Curry's probably in the top 5.
Oh.
I'm just talking about recognition, right?
No.
Like,
no.
I'm
just.
I go based on who my uncle in Brazil talks to me about on the phone. Like, well, he'd be like, "Hey, that's Steph
That's what we're
Curry
saying,
guy,"
world.
you know?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Maybe Tom Brady, but that would just be because of his relationship with Giselle. And otherwise,
LeBron.
yeah, you're asking like outside of soccer, top 5 in the world,
top
right?
5.
Oh
I
man,
said sports. Yeah.
yeah. There's a cricket player that is probably more famous than any of those people just because of the amount of people packed into India and Pakistan and England and Australia that just live, breathe, and die cricket. Just from a numbers perspective.
Right. Do you know his name?
No, God,
Okay,
no.
okay,
I can't name a single cricket player.
cricket
but I'm
guy,
saying there is
yes.
one.
Okay.
There is a
to you
cricket
by
player that
Cricket
is
Wireless.
technically more famous than any of these American athletes.
But if he
LeBron.
was the most famous guy, wouldn't we know his name?
Yeah,
I mean,
fair enough.
wouldn't it spill that far to us?
LeBron, for sure. Tiger.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
See,
Yeah.
so not order. Let's name them. LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
You said Tiger. You said Steph Curry.
Yeah,
So that's 3.
that's 3.
You said he's in top 5. Who
Top
else?
5 most famous athletes outside of soccer across the world.
Outside of soccer.
Right.
Cricket guy who's so famous that we don't know his
Unnamed
name.
cricket guy.
Unnamed.
I'm just saying, there's got to be one.
Everybody knows it. What's his name?
I mean,
have
really,
no
the
idea.
main sports here in the United States. So there's, dang. So
I'm just going to call him cricket. You know, that guy.
Otani, he's not up there. No.
Oh, Tony.
Oh,
See?
how many
that-
people live in Japan?
See, that's what I'm getting at. Like, I don't know if he's actually top 5. He may be like 6.
Oh, no.
No, you went out.
No, Lucas just said something in our ears that's not good. I don't even play. Okay, who's got the news, Lucas?
I have first seen it from A to Z Sports,
Were you?
who tweeted just seconds ago the words, "Oh no, Traylon Burks is being carried off the field in Minnesota, left leg injury on a long touchdown pass." It says, #Titans fans, hold your breath.
Oh man. Okay. Well, we'll hold our breath while we're holding our breath. A lot of people know who this cricket person is, but they've named 2 different guys. I'll let Mickey attempt to pronounce that.
Tennessee Backroad says Sachin Tendulkar is the cricket guy. In the very next response,
Derek Harris.
Virat Kohli is the cricket guy, says Derek Harris. Maybe that guy has 2 different names.
Formula One is a part of this
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton.
Okay. So is Messi
Or Todd Hamilton.
in the top 5?
Oh, Messi's number 1 in the world. Yeah. Messi's one of the most famous people on the
He's
planet.
number 1. Wow.
He's the most famous athlete on the planet. Yeah. It's not close.
Oh man, I don't know.
Although this cricket fella, Sachin Tendulkar, has like 42 million followers on Instagram, which is way more than even Tom Brady, who has like 14 million.
Well, the Kohli guy has 250 million followers.
Oh,
See, the cricket guy. Yeah, that's what guy says right here. Derek Harris. Kohli is his last name. How do you say it?
Virat Kohli or
Yeah,
Virat.
250 million followers on Instagram.
tennis stars probably. I mean, guy like Djokovic probably has a claim to that too.
Maria Sharapova.
The wording here, by the way, from Minnesota, Teron Davenport, saying that Burks tumbled going to ground and got up limping. He walked off with help from the trainers who were holding his left knee. So not necessarily carted off. He was able to get up and walk off with help from trainers.
Dang.
Here's another one from TD 35 seconds ago. Again, Teron Davenport among the reporters, Sam Phelan, Jim White on the ground like there in Minnesota. 35 seconds ago, Traylon Burks is laying down while the trainers look at him. He has both hands on his head, and Rand Carthon is talking to him. DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry just came over too.
Now they're taking him off the field in a cart. TD just tweeted.
Ew. Yeah, so unquestioned, Messi's number 1. Wow. And hopefully Burks will be number 1.
Well, some people just filled their pants with number 2 seeing this news, Titans fans, about Traylon Burks. Yeah, multiple Jim Wyatt going off in a cart, A to Z Sports going off in a cart. Holy moly, man.
Yeah, well, going off on a cart, it doesn't that doesn't, like, if you hurt your knee, ankle, if they're not sure in depth what it is until we hear it, you always, that cart is the deal. So I know everybody thinks, oh, cart, oh no. I mean, well, let's see where we're at. Hopefully it's just something minor. And when I say minor, I mean like maybe hopefully a couple weeks or so.
Paul Kaharski tweeted that Burks initially waved off the cart when he got up limping after the catch.
Okay. See?
But
the cart's just the easiest, quickest way to get him somewhere where they can look at him, right?
Right.
So,
without, putting weight on it, you don't know the extent of the injury. Sometimes they may have an idea, but you say, I don't know, let's just kind of get the cart. Yeah, it's just like when I got injured Super Bowl, I said, don't bring a cart out there. They brought a cart out there.
You got carted off.
Yeah, well, it don't matter. I had a neck brace on. I don't think I was going back in, but I was definitely telling them I'm going back in this game, man. I don't know what
They took your helmet, by the way, correct?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they did. They like, you're not going back in. I was like, okay, but I am.
If you could have found your helmet and pushed your way back out, would you have gone back out?
Oh, I told them, do not bring a cart out here. I'm going back in the game.
Okay.
They was like, no, you're absolutely not.
Okay.
I said, yes, I am. Oh, we were having me and Elrod were having serious conversations.
Were there explicatives being exchanged?
No. It was just like, no, I'm fine. They're like, Blaine, we're about to tie your neck down, your head, and you get on a cart. You're going inside, get x-rays. I said, no, I can move my neck. They do not move your neck. No. Do not move your head. So that's why, I don't get all panicky because it could still be something serious, no doubt. But I'm hoping that it's not with Berkshire. We're all reporting here based off of Twitter and all the people down on the ground there in Minnesota with Burks in some form of a knee injury that they carted him off. So I'm hoping, man, that it's not nothing, super serious where I'm talking about surgery. It could still be a sprained knee and you're out for 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I have no idea. I didn't see the injury or anything. So
top tier in the F&M Bank says, I like Blaine's positivity here.
Yeah, because this is good to change a lot of things here, man.
Top tier adds, if Blaine was in there, Bruce never scores.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chad Casual said, if Blaine finishes, we win. I've always said that.
Yeah.
Talking about the Super Bowl, if you're new to this program history.
I don't know, man. We did pretty good, man. It just wasn't meant to be.
Still caught the ball, Traylon Burks.
A little, look at you. Stop that. He still caught it. We worried about if he got the ball. Well, if it was in a Super Bowl, I'd be like, okay. I wish he would have dropped the ball and his knee was healthy. And we could just talk about how he dropped the ball. Yep.
Well, could be just precautionary. We don't know. But
it could be just a little knee contusion. Do we know anything else besides that he went down, like that someone maybe ran into his knee or it was out on air? I mean, if it was on air, oh, man, that would make me a little more nervous than anything.
They had been doing 7-on-7 at one point, so I don't think this was on air.
Okay.
Yeah, all they're saying is he tumbled going to ground.
And caught a long ball from Ryan Tannehill. Like, here's one of the Vikings people saying that.
And he got up limping and walked off with help from trainers and then kind of laid down and was taken off on
So
a cart.
are you assuming with that explanation that he dove for the ball?
Maybe it sounds like kind of tumbling going to ground while hauling it in. I'm not sure.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of somewhat diving.
Yeah.
So when I hear that, this is just a guess. Just hammy. That's all I'm guessing. Like, which is attached to your knee. In the back, like if he was diving and he was exerting, unless he hyperextended his knee while he was leaning, trying to stretch out and get the ball, so it could be something like that.
Kaharski said he was holding his upper calf under the knee.
Yeah, and then, see, that's exactly what I said, because that's all attached there. So I'm assuming it's a strain of a muscle. Yeah, but I'm just guessing based off what you guys are telling me.
Yeah, we don't have any video.
I'm not
or
a doctor. Yeah, if I saw video, I would have a little more. I kind of hit on most of those. So I may miss here and there, but if I see the actual play, I could guess pretty good.
Well, maybe somebody will have video of it. Hopefully. Right now, I haven't seen any yet, and I'm looking. I'll tell you who is there on site, though, is Coach Mack, and he's set to join us next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. You hear that music, it only means one thing. The arrival of Coach Dave McGinnis for the Mac Attack once again here on Blaine and Mickey. Normally Tuesdays, but he was traveling yesterday, so we get a special Wednesday visit. Coach Mac brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, Middle Tennessee's most trusted local Ford dealership for 40 years. Coach Mack, I know we got stuff to get to there off the top, and as you told Lucas, hey, I'm not a doctor, I don't know what's going on, but a lot of people concerned. Obviously, Traylon Burks going down, I guess, fairly early in this practice, and a lot of people with some questions and some concerns, as you could imagine.
Well, as a team period, I mean, it was a team period, and he beat the corner on a one-on-one. It was a beautiful throw, beautiful fingertip catch, and then as he was, going into the end zone, I'm standing right there, started to stumble because he stretched out for the ball a little bit. So, I mean, they've taken him in, and that's all that I can give you. That's all I know. As I say, all the years I've been doing this, I can analyze. I can't diagnose.
Well, I know people will be anxiously awaiting updates when they can get them. I'll ask you this. As a coach, this joint practice work, obviously with starters playing less and less in the preseason, this gives good on good, ones on ones, twos on twos. It gives guys an opportunity to get that work. How much do you enjoy these type of things, and did you as a coach?
Well, it's invaluable. I did it as much as I could as a coach, especially as a head coach, because it's invaluable training. It's invaluable evaluation against somebody else that's doing something completely different than you are. You start with the one-on-ones all the way through the 7-on-7s and the teams. I mean, they're getting ready to go some special teams work right now. It's invaluable, especially now with only 3 preseason games. You need as much evaluation on tape as you could get, and they're getting it. This is a beautiful facility that they've got here in Eagan, Minnesota. I mean, this facility, I've seen most of them in the National Football League. I haven't seen one better than this. I mean, their footprint here is amazing, and it's really nice.
Do you think that there's a position group, maybe more than any other, that benefits from this kind of work? I mean, I know they all do, but does one maybe get some more benefit than another, or no?
No, it's equal. It's equal, and what you want to see is your young players and your veteran players, because you get comfortable going against your own people enough. And the key to the National Football League of evaluation, the key for evaluation is seeing how guys work and how they execute under pressure. There's pressure out here today on these guys, and dovetailing off of what I just said, when you work against each other, a lot of times, I mean, everything is evaluated on film, but the pressure to perform and do it now, you can't manufacture that. You've got to be able to see it. And so every group gets something off of it. Plus, we've got a 30-mile-an-hour wind here, so there's a definite difference going against the wind and with the wind, for both sides of the ball out here today, too. So it all adds up to a really, really good evaluation experience.
The one and only Coach Mack giving us the Mac Attack here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach Mack, I'm really curious on how you view now with only 3 preseason games, compare a preseason game, what you're trying to get out of it as a head coach, compared to actually having these practice sessions with other teams. I mean, how do you view that coming from a head coach and what you can get out of those? And
as a head coach, you work with the other head coach, Blaine. You can map out exactly how you want to work.
Mm-hmm.
And you can work out, you can put your players, and they can too, in specific situations. They want to see, they'll say, hey, when this guy I want to see him against your best in one-on-one. I want to see him against your best in man defense. So if you'll give us some man, I like to see these quarterbacks, be able to diagnose and read if you're going to bogey coverages. Don't hold anything back. But as a head coach, and all the times that I did this, you work with the other head coach and then the coaching staff, and the coaching staffs work together. You can put guys in situations that you want to evaluate. When you're in a preseason game, you just got to go with the flow of the game. So here is really dialed in work that's got a microscope on it as things specifically that you want to see against different people. Your players don't know, the way that you've worked it out, but then it gives you a very good diagnostic thing that you can watch and can implement. It's invaluable. It really is, especially now, Blaine, with only 3 preseason games. You're going to see more and more of this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Coach Mack giving us the Mac Attack. I guess, did you see any changes in the offense, I guess, comparing last year's first preseason game to this year's preseason game?
Well, the thing I've noticed, and again, because I get to watch all the practices, but in the ball game, you can see, Tim Kelly's doing a great job of layering his calls, of setting calls up, personnel groups, getting the same play out of different personnel groups, different looks out of those personnel groups. You can see that with the first team offense, how successful they were. The only thing they had was the one false start, but they had the defense on their left foot just because they were able to work in rhythm and they were able to give them different looks. As a defensive coordinator, I always, when I was looking at offensive coordinators and how they called games, those guys that can layer their offense and can set up plays, 2 and 3 plays in advance with different personnel looks, always gave you the biggest problem. You can relate to that because now, as you're preparing, you've got to study the tape, but you can't only study the personnel group. You got to study the formations out of the personnel group, how they relate to the different ways that they can deploy them.
All right, now to the nitty-gritty, and that is this quarterback battle for number 2. Give us your observations of Willis and Levis and what you saw.
Well, Will Levis has made dramatic improvement, but, when Will Levis was drafted, Blaine, we talked, and, the talk was, he, coming from where he came from, and look, Hugh Freeze wasn't trying to develop quarterbacks in this league. He's trying to win games at Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the best athlete on the field, so he could one step and take off running and do all those things. Will Levis is a worker. I was just talking with Charles London today before practice. He said it's an amazing, how much, because he works at it. He wants to learn, wanted to learn in the off season, and ask. And so Malik Willis. So I really like what he's done, the Malik's development. Will Levis has had the advantage, of being in a pro system, but not pro speed. And so, but Will Levis was ahead of where Malik was coming into this game, all right, because of just the offenses that he played in college. They've both made some really nice throws out here today, and also have done some nice job in teams, pointing out the mics, changing plays, and they both got arm talent, and they're both talented individuals. So it's going to be a real competition throughout this training camp. But I like what I see out of both of them. Both of them have promise in this league.
Well, another competition is big, to at least for me, especially the way games are so close, is the kicking game. Kind of take us through, what you saw from the kickers, and maybe the kickers not on the roster, but maybe they continue to improve and grow too as well.
Well, look, Blaine, and I'm always perfectly honest with you guys and our listeners. All I want those kickers to do is put it through the yellow things, right? Mm-hmm. And if you don't, well, then that's got to be a mark against you. Shudak did a nice job of that with his first shot, but you can't kick off out of bounds and put your defense on the 40-yard line. So these guys are still fighting for a position here, and whether or not either one of them win this job or the kicker's coming from somewhere else, I don't know. But this is a period for them, from now until the end of this training camp. So one of those guys has got to step out in front of the other one. Right now, I would say it's pretty even. If you want to talk about pressure kicks, Shudak made one. The Texas Tech kicker missed one. So there's your grade sheet there.
There you have it. Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, in between storm warnings, I was catching all the broadcasts that I could. And when the game ended and you were doing your summary with Rhett Bryan, you talked about something that actually turned out pretty cool in this game. All the pressure situations that just naturally happen for the kickers, for the quarterbacks. They both had a chance essentially to win the game. That game produced some great opportunities for them to play under pressure.
Yeah, Mickey, and as a coach, you kind of, that's the way it unfolded. You want some situational football that you've worked on, and then you want to be able to see situational football by your football team. Offense, defense, and the special teams be able to operate under game pressure. And you're exactly right. Mike Keith, said early on this was a really lively preseason game, and by part of that he meant they were seeing situational football that they have worked on, but then they got to experience it in real time. So I thought it was invaluable. Some they stepped up to the plate and were able to execute. Some they fell short. But again, you can't manufacture those positions like you can when you're doing things like this. The question that we first had about the advantage of doing this, you can't manufacture that in the games. It came naturally. In that ball game.
I would imagine
if you can hear the crowd, what they're working on now is special teams. Everybody's watching it. They're working on gunners and press. you know that always, Blaine, you know when you had it worked out. You got the whole team standing there on the sideline watching. These guys are trying to make a team doing this right now, too.
Oh, man. I
Boy.
remember that my rookie year. Oh, my.
Hey, I was going to say, Coach Mack, that may not be the sexy stuff to fans, but that's dudes who are literally trying to make the team and hold on for dear life out there.
I was fighting for my life.
And there you go. And that's how you make a team. And so when you heard the crowd, they got a great crowd here. When you heard the crowd, that's what they're working on right now. And all in the sidelines, all the other guys are standing watching.
Coach Mack right there on the sidelines watching the Titans and Vikings practice in Minnesota and hanging out with us here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, it seems like we got some serious battles there with the back end of the roster as far as wide receivers and linebackers as well. Kind of take us through what you saw. I know Monty Rice didn't play very much. I don't know if he's practicing or not, but he didn't play very many plays, so I'm assuming he got injured. But what did you see from the back end of the roster, let's say 5, 6, and on after a wide receiver and then a linebacker spot?
Yeah, well, I thought some of the young receivers really stepped up. And I thought that Gibby and Chance Campbell did a nice job with all the opportunities and the snaps that they got. And the other thing in watching that game, because we had none of our front line guys play, Blaine, and you can relate to this, and you can help our listeners understand this too. They not only had to play first and second and third down, they had to be on teams too. So that makes a difference too, but that's what you have to fight for. I thought they did a nice job. I thought that some of the run reads were really spot on, and to me, it's really valuable for those guys to get that kind of game experience. Monty Rice, only got 7 snaps, and so it's going to be important for him from this time on to be able to step up and see. They're trying to find somebody that can play, first and second down, especially, and maybe some nickel, across lined up beside Aziz. So that's what they're looking for now during all of this time here. I'm going to be watching that very closely this week, especially tomorrow. I watched mainly today. I watched our offense on both sides because they're on 2 different fields. I'll work on the defense tomorrow. But this is invaluable time for those young linebackers that are not only trying to make a team on special teams, but seeing who can be either the dude or a legitimate backup dude at that second level.
Now, what did you see? Let's go through what you saw today with the offensive line, compared to what we saw. I know the Bears played some of their starters, but all their starters weren't out there on the defensive line. They still got off to a good start, but have they continued that momentum during this practice?
Yeah, the first unit, did a very nice job. Now, Danielle Hunter, that you guys know the name, is playing for the Vikings. Mm-hmm. That's a beast.
99.
That dude is a beast. But I mean, I thought the team period, they held up very well. Had a couple of false starts, but they that first unit, continues to develop, some sync with each other, and I thought it was decent. What you've got to find now is what they're looking for is some backups that can come in and finish out a game, and hopefully that we can stay with the same group all year. If you can't, that you can plug in and feel comfortable with. I think that's where the real battle is right now because, especially with that starting 5, we saw evidence of it last week, and they've held their own decently today. And because when they go team in this stuff, they're not taking anybody to the ground, but up front, they're going.
I know we saw a lot of Garrard and your Camp Crush Marsh. But, man, what did you think about how those guys that's Mickey's Crush. But, I like them too. So they really stepped up. Did they do enough to move up to the 2s and be consistent and really have a shot of making the roster, both of those guys?
I don't think so yet, but I think what they did do is they showed up. I mean, you noticed them. Garrard especially really made some nice plays. And when you step up and do that, you give yourself a chance. I mean, that opens up not only the lens of the camera, but it opens up the coach's eyes too. So those guys have got to continue to stack something like that. I mean, this time is big for them too. The game will be big for them. But I agree with both of those guys. At least they showed up when they got a chance, right? And you find out pretty quick. Some guys, blossom and bloom when the lights come on, and some guys shrink. You don't want guys that shrink. You want guys that blossom, and they blossomed in that last game.
Well, we're talking to Coach Mack, who is blossoming all down in Minnesota right now.
Well, the interesting thing about both of those guys, too, Coach, they were both rookie minicamp invites they've literally been trying to make the team since the moment they got here, just to try to stick around another weekend.
Mickey, and you can ask Blaine this, but I know this is true. All you're looking for is a chance to get in the door.
Yep.
Get in the building. And once you're in the building, then it's up to you because you get the same chances everybody else did. Your leash might be shorter than some people, but your chances are exactly the same. They took advantage of their chances, and clearly they took advantage of their preparation chances because they were both in the right spots in that first ball game. So, yeah, I mean, the National Football League nowadays, and especially when you're flipping 33% of your roster every year, doesn't matter how you get there. Get in the door, then it's up to you.
Coach Mack, on the way out, people have joined us in the chat and are asking, is there anything new with Burks? Have you seen him come back out? For people who are just joining us, he went down after a long pass play. Multiple reports that they got on a cart and drove him off the field to go look at him. Anything new to add at this point?
Nothing new to add.
Okay.
As I say, Coach Mack can analyze everything that goes on the field. I dropped out of medical school after one semester because it was too easy. So I didn't get that.
Yeah, me too,
degree.
Coach, man. We were both, it was a little too easy.
We're right there together, right?
By the way, I will tell you this. I told my son the other day he didn't know if he was pumped or stuffed, and I attributed that to Coach Mack.
You can tell him what that means, too, because that's very fundamental in this league. And most people, when they talk about this game that don't know if it's pumped or stuffed, don't listen to them.
Oh, I'll get him with Ford over Rooster next, Coach. Hey,
that's high level stuff. Save that for a minute.
Hey, when you said that on the game broadcast, and you said, "Do you know what that is?" and Mike Keith said, "I don't think I do." I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I grew up in the country. I've seen a Ford hit a rooster. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
And I did not.
I knew exactly what you were talking
about.
about.
Everybody else that grew up in rural Tennessee, rural Texas, rural Arkansas knew exactly what I was saying. Because those roosters like to walk out of the yard and claim their territory. They're no match for a Ford pickup, I promise you.
Or a Chevy Monte Carlo. I got a friend who can tell you that story someday.
Oh, my.
Hey, Coach, thank you for the time. We always appreciate it, and all of our fingers crossed for Traylon Burks.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate you and our listeners. See you.
Yes, sir. The
Go
man
Frogs.
who dropped the phrase Ford over Rooster in an NFL broadcast, and it was glorious when he did.
Oh,
all right, if you're just joining us, Traylon Burks down. There is video. We have been tweeted the video. We'll let Dr. Blaine take a look at it, and we'll give a diagnosis of the best we can see. Fake Dr. Blaine next.
Fake doctor.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Coach Mack was on with us. He is actually in Minnesota. He is watching the Titans practice there today. He saw the play, a long pass play to Traylon Burks with a Vikings player in coverage. He stumbled after the play, got up slowly, and then was eventually taken off on a cart. A lot of people freaking out about a cart, but as 10-year NFL player Blaine Bishop pointed out, that's just the easiest way to put him on something and get him to where you want to go look at anything so he doesn't have to walk.
Right.
Because we don't even know where any of the medical facilities are stationed. They're practicing in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So, hey, man, jump on here. Let's drive your butt over here and take a look at
He limped immediately when he got up. As soon as he was just like, I don't want to put any weight. And for something to happen like that, immediately it's just, ooh, how serious is it? Mm-hmm. You just don't know. I'm just hoping still that it's maybe a sprain, you couldn't hardly see because their legs were, covering the view from the video that we saw. And I just want to hope it's a hammy or calf, but, man, I don't know. It could be a hyperextended knee or something because you can't tell. Because he was on one leg when he jumped up and caught and then landed on, the other one leg, and it could have just got screwed up. And then he kind of tumbles and rolls around. I don't even know if the guy pushed him or not, but it was a touchdown. But, dang. Oh, man. Right when he's right where you need to get this. I hope it's not serious. I'm just hoping it's not. But it could be. And the only thing that makes me scary is him limping, immediately when he got up. He tried to put weight on there, and he was like, no can do. From the view we had, you can't really see. Maybe could have been, I don't want to jinx it. Hyperextended to, a little meniscus tear or something. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I'm always guessing. I feel like I've had every injury or seen every injury and always ask questions about guys who get injured. I used to sit there trying to be like, dang, why you asking me all these questions about what happened to my knee or my ankle or my wrist? Because I want to know what they did. I want to say, man, I want to know. I don't know. I never got injured until I got actually in the league. Like, I've never had surgery. Like, never.
How many surgeries did you finish with?
10, 11.
Okay.
Yeah, I quit counting.
Well, what you got there? You caught up, though.
No.
But you
that
kept
was
playing.
Not the intent.
You kept playing, though. It's like, put a bowling ball in my hand, and I'll just keep playing. Or just snip this meniscus, and y'all can drain fluid off my knee. So it's not like you missed a lot of time.
No,
I didn't.
It was all off season.
Drain it.
Well, shoulder was reconstructed. I played that season with that. So that was a tough one there.
That thing's still all it's more messed up than a pile of coat hangers, right?
Yeah. So, I just don't want it to be something crazy, serious.
Maybe just because the way he fell, he banged it really hard on the ground, and he was like,
"Could it be a bruise?
This is really hurt," and he just grabbed it like, "Oh, it's hurting."
He could have bruised his knee.
Yeah.
He could have. So I'm going bruised, hyperextended, something, something in minor world of no surgery, like, sprained MCL or something. That's pretty tough injury too, by the way. I had that one too.
Watch out, is that? Wait a second, I had that.
Well, I had that my rookie year. My rookie year, I got ear-holed on kickoff and against the Cowboys.
I hit you in the head so hard it hurt your knee.
No. Hey, that's what some coaches said too.
They missed you. They got to hit your knee.
No. Here's what happened. First preseason game, I'm like, I'm gonna go down there and just knock somebody out. I was flying. Nobody was in sight on the kickoff team with me. I'm like, dude, I'm about to get him. I didn't realize that they do something called a cross block, where the guy that you ran by circles around. He circles around, and then he ear holes you. And as soon as I put my foot in the ground, next thing I know, my ear was in the hole. It was on the ground.
They didn't prepare you for this situation?
No. First preseason game, there was no.
What was that film session like? Hey, sorry, we forgot to tell you they got to turn around.
No, there was no sorry. There was a whole bunch of chuckling and laughing, just like you doing right now. They were all laughing. Like, ooh, you got blasted. I'm like, oh, my God.
Okay, usually you know. Who was it? Who got you?
I do
Usually
not know.
That dude probably.
I don't even know. I
Okay.
was so perturbed because then guess what? Here's the first thing that sprained my MCL. They said, "Oh, you're gonna be out 3 or 4 weeks." I said, "Do what?"
Oh, man, I'm going to be back in Indiana.
Yep. I said, "Oh crap!"
Oh,
Hey, crap! You heard me. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna get cut." I was like, "Oh man, that's the worst." Look, I'm trying to be overly aggressive, and we had already practiced for probably like 3 weeks, and so they were like, "Blaine, don't worry about it. You're doing a good job." I said, "Oh, they trying to pull the okey doke on me. They trying to get me to go out here and run around, and then they go slice me." So I said, "No." So they had me out there with 2 weeks with a big old brace on. I said, "I can't even run around with this thing on. I can run straight. I cannot cut." They were like, "You can't cut?" I said, "No, I cannot play with this thing on, man. I will not be playing with this on ever. So y'all might as well go and make your decision right now." They said, No, we're not going to cut you. You made this team. You just get healthy." This is my rookie year. I never.
You were still nervous, though, weren't you?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have believed
I
it.
was. I tried to play a little bit that last preseason game with no brace. They was just like, you can do gunner, and we'll see how you do it, and that's it. So they would have got me on film if they wanted to cut me. I was going to give them every opportunity. They said, "No, you made the team." I was scared, though, after I got hurt the first preseason game. Luckily, we had practiced like 3 weeks, 2 a day. So that was like 6 weeks. Yeah, that was tough. So that's what I'm saying. Could have. I want to go hybrid standard. Just a tweak. Those receivers, that's tough, man. You playing to break it all the time. I don't want it to be like, oh, no, it's a 3-letter word or some letter. Dang it. It better not be.
All right, here's what we'll do. If you're just joining us, maybe you're just getting in the car from lunch, from work, or whatever, news out of Minnesota. Traylon Burks left practice, went down after a long pass reception, got up limping, apparently limped around a little bit. Then they put him on a cart and they drove him away. So we'll see what we can find out. We'll try to check in with some of the guys who were there, see what we can learn about it. Apparently, there's at least one other player who went into the medical tent earlier, per Paul Kaharski. So we'll tell you who that is.
Oh, wow.
When we come back. Blaine and Mickey.
What the heck?
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. So here's what's going on. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Breaking news, but we're not going to play the noise. Breaking news, though, out of Minnesota. If you're just getting in the car, you're just hearing the show, you're just starting the show as we start hour 2. There is news that Traylon Burks on a long pass route. By the way, there is video. Blaine, I don't know if you retweeted it. Somebody was kind enough to tag us in it on Twitter. There's a guy there in Minnesota who was just, I guess, sitting there with his phone, and he got it. Sean.
There was a fan in the stands, actually. Cause
Sean on Twitter tagged you and I in it, basically like, guys, here's the video. So it's a long pass play. He gets up limping. Jay Jackson on Twitter says it seems the internet has already decided he's going to need his left leg or his leg amputated.
Oh,
now, people are jumping to a lot of conclusions, that's for sure. But he stumbles at the end of the catch and kind of gets up limping and then stops. And there are multiple reports, TD and others who said, Sam Phelan, that a cart then was sent out to take him to get some medical attention. Paul Kaharski is there. Also, he reported Josh Wiley went into the medical tent. This was 22 minutes ago. And that 35 minutes ago, Luke Gifford, who's a backup and special teams linebacker, just went inside.
Who was a free agent signing from the Cowboys.
From the Cowboys. Now, he could have gone in to, take care of some bathroom business or something like that. But went inside, Josh Wiley in the medical tent at one point, and Traylon Burks carried off after a long pass play. And again, there is video that you can see if you are so inclined to see it.
Yeah, I'm just hoping nothing serious. That's what I'm hoping. I think it's a good shot, but you just never know. Man, such bad luck right there, man.
That's all that is. I mean, it looked like a one-on-one. It's not like he's out there involved in heavy action or peel back to block somebody or wasn't a tunnel screen in team drill where there were 18 people around his legs. It wasn't anything like that. It was two guys.
Well, I mean, the other guy, it had nothing to do with. He reached up and jumped up and caught a go route.
Yep.
And landed. He took off on one knee or leg and then landed on another one. And then as he took a couple steps and then rolled and tumbled, he got up and was like, uh-oh. This leg can't handle any pressure or weight. So I don't know if it was the one when he took off in the air to go catch it or when he landed. And, so that's oh, man. Jiminy crickets. This guy can't get a break. Or the Titans, we can't get a break there with Mr. Burks. I mean, he got injured, a couple times during the season. Everything was doing so good. I wonder if the scrimmages actually are more physical for the starters. I know we said there was no contact there with Burks, but then in the actual preseason game. That's kind of what I was alluding to with Coach Mack. Like, the preseason seemed like it's more for evaluating the young players and not the
now
vets.
More than ever.
Yeah, more than ever. I mean, it's just only reason why the starting offensive line is playing because this is their first time playing. So I'm interested. Do you think they're going to even play Henry or Tannehill during the preseason or even D-Hop? Man, that's a tough call for me, man. There's a part of me, there's nothing he can duplicate game speed and timing. It's specifically on offense.
And for people who, it's a different offense. Yeah. It's Tim Kelly who was on the staff last year, but they've all said, Ryan Tannehill said, hey, this is a different offense. We're learning a new offense.
Yeah, I bet they don't play Tannehill or Henry.
I bet they don't either.
I bet D-Hop doesn't play either then. What do you think?
No. I wouldn't play this. I'd be like, "Hey, D-Hop, this is your preseason game against the Vikings today." Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me even if they tomorrow they were like, "D-Hop, man, hey, put on some sweatpants." I don't know if they will, but if I read tomorrow like he didn't practice day 2, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, wow. I think Chig and some of the defensive guys who didn't play got to be playing at some point in this preseason. I know it sounds crazy, but I want a couple series for sure. And I'm talking about in one game. I want to go through, conditioning, just all of that. Adjustments. I want to play.
The one guy that I would consider not playing on defense, if it was one guy, who I wouldn't play? Denico Autry. I'd be like,
I would probably.
hey, man, you mid-30s. I don't know how many steps those legs got left. We're going to take every one of them in real games.
Right.
Ice those rascals down. Yeah. Let's put some icy hot on there.
Like I'd even, I would want to see Simmons, Byard. Yeah, I do. Fulton. I mean, like, Chig got to go. I don't know what the heck. I felt like he needed to go in that first game. He should have been out there with the offensive line.
Well, he's part of what they do. That's why the tight end coaches, they always say they coach everybody because their guys are involved in every aspect of everything.
Right. We expect that you're going to get to where we think you're going to be, but you're not there yet, young man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to see it. So, but that's where we're at now, and this is the new NFL.
In your heyday for the classic NFL that a bunch of us knew and the one you played in.
Well, 4 preseason games.
You played what? 1 series in the first game or 2 maybe. The offense usually played 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second game maybe you played 2 or 3, right? Then the third game you would play what? All the first half and 1 drive of the second half maybe.
Yeah.
And then in fourth.
Sometimes not the second half, but right. Yes.
And I'm talking about the Blaines, like that guy's a starter. He's a star of the team. That guy. So the guys that we're talking about. And then the 4th preseason game, I would imagine you had a baseball hat on backwards and you were just coaching up the dudes who were trying to grab the number 5 safety spot.
So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of changed. It's more for the whole entire preseason is for, the young players to evaluate them to see who can make the team and not. Because you have this, remember, big 16-player practice squad, which we didn't have. I think we had 4 players, maybe been 2, maybe. But so yeah, this is a different animal now, and I get it. And then you see more injuries now than ever before, and I thought that's why everybody wanted to not play them because they were trying to avoid injuries. Well, shoot, man, injuries are worse than ever to me, and I don't know if it's because the guys are bigger, stronger, faster, or they're not getting their body attuned to banging like in a live game. Because my whole premise on everything is I think the offensive linemen should be playing the last 2 or 3 years. And watch this. The starters in every game, regardless if you are, a new offensive line or not. Because if you are a physical run-dominant team, which the Titans are, those guys got to get used to banging and getting their timing down. Now, you can not run the running back, but you got to have them out there. Like, to me, they got, I want to see them in a quarter. I want to see a series. I want to see 2 or 3 series.
I wouldn't play them less than a quarter in both of these next 2 games. Yeah. The offensive line, the starters.
Yeah, man. And then you get to see, guess what? Malik Willis and Levis. And Levis.
Siri doesn't understand.
I know, Siri. I don't know what happened, Siri, but I must have been talking.
What we're saying is, Siri, if you're not conditioned to this, that this is when you trying to get conditioned to it. Y'all had 2-a-days. You had 2 practices a day in pads. Your body was used to it. Part of and so there are people, I'm sure somebody in the Evan and Bank chat's like, well, just put them out there in pads. You can't. It's against the rules now.
Yeah, they can't even do
That's been bargained out of practice. So a big part of you and I have talked a lot about this. There's a collective bargaining agreement. So the players and the Players Association and the owners, they have these things and they meet in the middle and they say, we want this and we want more money and we want this and that. And the owners have always allowed practice, the Players Association, we want to practice less and practice less in pads. And the owner's like, we don't care. The games are still on TV. Practice all you want to or don't.
No, they act like they cared, but then they really don't.
Right. Oh, this is so bad.
Yeah.
Not practice.
Well, you gotta practice 4 days in a row. No, 3, only 3, and then we get a day off. Oh, okay, great.
Well, 3.5. No, okay. Well, we'll agree to this, but we get another percent of the billions.
As soon as we see live action against another team, next thing you know, we got 3 injuries.
Yeah. Oh, there's guys dropping like flies everywhere in all these practice reports.
Has Minnesota got any guys back there?
I hadn't seen that. They appear to be unscathed. So I'll check some of their reporters and see. It's no different than this. If you are a certain age and every day in the summertime, your mom said, hey, man, you got to go outside all day long. You can't stay in here. You'd be used to the heat. If you're not used to the heat and somebody sends you out there, you're going to be like, I can't deal with this. Well, the kids who are out there every day can deal with it. No, it's no different. Your body is used to what it's used to. It's conditioned to what it's conditioned to. And once upon a time, football practice was different, and that people wore, like Coach Mack talks about those Bears practices, they were just bloodbaths. The Oilers team that you joined, y'all down there in
Oh yeah, my rookie
San
year.
Antonio, and
Well, I was like, what they doing? Oh man, we going this is a real game. Like, yep, strap them up. Y'all better go get your helmets and put air in them. Huh? This is practice. You better go get some air. Because you say you got dinged, that means concussed.
right.
We're going to keep it moving. Uh-oh.
Oh, remember guys who get dinged and come back in practice.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm
Hey,
getting
Fred,
at.
you okay? Remember they put that smelling salts under your nose. You ever get that? That ammonia pack?
How do you know that?
I got knocked out in practice one day, and I finished practice.
Watch this.
They put that thing under.
Oh, I didn't do that in practice. I did it before every
You just
day.
gave it to yourself.
Yep, every game.
Oh, I got knocked the blank out.
I was like, ooh, I need to wake up to another level. And that thing was like, I'm not going to say what it was like for me, but it was like,
You were like a cartoon character. The Hitman was born.
That's exactly it. I don't even know what was in that. I could have been sniffing something I had no business sniffing.
As long as you weren't sniffing glue. All right, Jordan Dajani is set to join us next. We'll continue to keep an eye on developments in Minnesota. But again, as people join the show, they get in the chat
Oklahoma
and they say,
drills.
what are these guys talking about? Traylon Burks down after a play. Was carted off, favoring, was it his left knee? Left knee.
I don't know.
One of his knees, I believe, is left knee. And we have yet to get any other information. I think Mike Vrabel has even already spoken before practice today. So it may be a minute before we get any kind of information. But if we get any information, we'll certainly let you know. And Jordan Dajani will join us next, and we'll ask him for a bunch of information about the NFL.
See if he does Oklahoma drill.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Jordan Dajani should be on with us momentarily from CBS Sports. Titans and Vikings have finished up practice in Minnesota.
Oh, they finished.
Seeing an interview with Ryan Tannehill, Roger McCrary interview, but nothing new about Traylon Burks. Again, if you're just joining us, the big news of today, he was carried off after a long pass play, stumbled at the end of the play, got up, and was favoring a knee. And I'm watching the video right now. And that was it. Walked about 3 steps, looks to be holding his left knee, tried to take another step, hunkered down, got some medical attention, and was driven off on a cart. Again, I'm literally play-by-playing it now because the video is out. The fan in the stands got this video. Got great video of it. Now, there's, as Blake pointed out earlier, there's some people standing between the bleachers and the play because you have to look over the sidelines. But still, though, there is at least some video of this. And I don't know. Some people have watched the video and they feel better about things, and others have watched it and they feel worse about things. Here's the thing. Nobody's going to know anything till it gets examined and a doctor says this is what's going on.
Be real careful now because it's hard to really see exactly. Like I couldn't see if his knee buckled or if nothing happened or, so you couldn't see through the other guy's legs and everything else. So I'm just hoping this is just a little setback.
Jordan Dajani, man, big news out of Minnesota. I'm still waiting for some news on Traylon Burks, but was tough to see number 16 go down, man.
No doubt about it, man. It seemed like the Titans had a struggle trying to get through this joint practice with the Vikings, with players in and out of the injury tent. Of course, as you mentioned, Traylon Burks getting carted off the field. I will say this. It's nice having the video. Thankfully, a fan was videotaping the play because it would be a lot tougher to recklessly speculate without having any kind of visual. That doesn't give us any more insight into what exactly happened. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose this. But just remember that Twitter doctors are a virus. Don't put a lot of stock into what they say, right? So wait for someone with actually knowledge of the situation to report something before you get your hopes up or down. So everyone's holding their breath. I mean, Traylon Burks is an incredibly important player to not only this offense but this team. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It sure is. And that's good advice because when social media existed and you can immediately get video of everything, then everybody wants to diagnose everything immediately. Some people, this looks fine. He's fine. And others like, oh, my gosh, this is the worst. What's happening now? So,
especially with the injury history of the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
People think
no,
worst.
That's got people in their feelings, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, the we can't have nice things crowd they're saying we can't have nice things. All right, you've seen one preseason game of these Tennessee Titans in the books. Just curious what maybe stood out to you, good or bad, about the two-tone blue after week 1.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to understand that overreactions are overrated. I mean, this was the first exhibition matchup. This was about everyone getting their feet wet. So I didn't like the defense. I thought tackling was bad. I was very intrigued by the quarterback play. Malik Willis I thought was better than Will Levis, and especially in the second half, he put together that drive where he started firing shots back to back, and it was good to see because it was very clear that Malik Willis has made big strides over the past calendar year, which was good to see. Both quarterbacks were sacked 4 times apiece. The offensive line play, especially the reserves, was not up to par. It was not very good, but there was definitely some instances with both quarterbacks where they held on to the ball a little bit too long. But the main takeaway the main thing I'm more concerned about than anything with the Titans' first preseason game is that I'm pretty terrified about the issue of depth on both sides of the ball. The offensive line and let's just say the defense in general, especially when it comes to tackling, like I said. I'm a little worried about the issue of depth with the Titans, and especially when you consider that this franchise has basically led the league in injuries over the past few years. That's not exactly good to see. So that was probably my main worrisome takeaway for this past weekend.
We never worry about Jordan Dajani giving us the news from the NFL. Joins us every Wednesday in this hour.
Well, Jordan, man, I see the Colts announce Richardson as their starter. We're going around the league here. Is this good for Richardson, or is just they had no choice but to announce him as a starter? I think they've had a different starter the last 7, 8 years.
8
years, yeah. So what did you see of what you saw him play, if you saw him play, that made you think, oh, okay, they should announce he's the starter?
Yeah, Blaine, that's a great question, man. But the bottom line is I don't think there was ever a question about it, right?
Right.
I think Anthony Richardson was going to start week one. You know, Jim Irsay's been saying that since day one, since they drafted him. So I don't know how much of a quarterback battle we actually had. And I don't know how much the first preseason game kind of led to them making that decision. I guess you can kind of come to that natural conclusion since it came this week. But, man, I mean, he had an interesting performance. I'll say that. He went 7-12, 67 yards, a really bad interception. But he also had a really nice strike down the field that fell incomplete. I believe that went to the second-year wideout, Alec Pierce. So it was a perfect representation of what I expect Anthony Richardson's rookie year to be, right? There's going to be some low lows. There's going to be some boneheaded plays as he works through this process of becoming a polished signal caller at the next level. But there's also going to be these glimpses of stardom where he does something that it seems like maybe only a couple other quarterbacks in the NFL can pull off, whether it's his athletic ability, whether it's his cannon of an arm going downfield, down the right sideline, whatever it may be. So Anthony Richardson has a ton of potential. But everyone, NFL fans, Colts fans, everyone like that, they're going to have to be patient to see how this guy develops. He's going to need reps to really reach that ceiling.
What did you think about the other young quarterbacks that went high in the draft, Young and C.J. Stroud?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. I don't think we can have a huge overreactions. I think that if I had to pick one that had the worst performance, let's say, it was probably C.J. Stroud. I think most of his play, I mean, the offensive line was abysmal. That might have been some of the worst offensive line play I saw all weekend was what he had to deal with. So you can't put everything on him. But he did have a really, really bad interception where he locked eyes with his wide receiver. The safety made a play, and he was even late throwing the ball. So he had a really bad interception. But I mean, this was a prospect that a lot of people believed was the safest quarterback in this class. We all know he has legitimate franchise quarterback potential. So like I said, can't get too high, can't get too low on these quarterbacks. As far as Bryce Young goes, you know, he took some shots in the pocket. There's no doubt about that. And I think that the Panthers coaching staff wanted to see him take those shots to see how he would react to them. And I think he reacted perfectly. He got up fast. He was ready for the next play. He didn't seem like he was shaken up at all, even though I'm basically the same size as that guy. And I can't imagine getting hit by some of these pass rushers. But he made some of the throws he needed to make. He missed some on the outside. I'm excited about this kid. But, again, the offensive line play for the Carolina was abysmal. I mean, the New York Jets pass rush and that defensive line looked pretty incredible. I think the Panthers, just overall as a team, were one of the more disappointing teams I saw throughout the entire weekend for the opening weekend of the preseason.
I know you're a big gambler there, Jordan Dajani. I saw the Titans are, I guess their win total in division is only like, was it with 3.5 or so? What was the number?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up. That was an interesting prop I saw over at Caesars.
Yeah, 3.5 division wins over under for the Titans is what you tweeted about.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So you going over on that? What are you doing?
Yeah. So I'm looking at the juice, right? The juice is not even. It's not minus 110. The over 3.5 division wins is plus 140 as opposed to the under, which is minus 170. Every time I see juice like that, I'm going to lean to the over, right? I think that the national media, and that includes Vegas, is more down on the Titans than people maybe who cover the team. So I'm leaning to the over there at plus 140. I don't think it's a best bet. I'm not saying put your paycheck on this thing by any means, but I'm leaning to the over when it comes to the total division wins for the Titans.
But you are saying that that's a Mickey's moneymaker, though.
Hey, that's up to him. He's got to make that decision.
We're on with Jordan Dajani, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
I'll get my crack research team on that. What does your crack research team say about the Titans' backup QB battle?
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating discussion because I think we're at you guys have to correct me if I'm wrong, but we may be at the point in this debate where I believe that the Titans are going to carry 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. I think that's what they're going to do looking at just their situation. They got 2 young signal callers, both selected in the top 3 rounds of the draft over 2 years. You've got a new GM coming over from San Francisco who has been firsthand involved with teams that have had quarterback issues where they've needed 3 quarterbacks. I just believe that all signs are pointing to Tennessee carrying 3 on the 53. Now, it'll be interesting to say, let's say if Ryan Tannehill is injured, God forbid, in week 1 or week 2, which quarterback would step in the lineup? That's the question that I don't have the answer to. Right now, I mean, through one preseason game, it seems like Malik Willis has really taken strides. It seems like he is technically quote unquote ahead in this backup quarterback battle. But are we going to be saying the same thing when the regular season rolls around? Are we going to see enough tangible evidence that Will Levis is making the strides he needs to make through these exhibition games coming up, and that he can be the number 2 quarterback as we enter the regular season? That's one of the main questions that I have for myself as we go through the preseason schedule.
You mentioned the Titans GM coming from somewhere else. Of course, that's Rand Carthon coming from San Francisco, and they kept 3 quarterbacks last year, and it turns out in the end even 3 weren't enough, which is hard to believe. But one of those guys is Trey Lance. Man, this story just gets uglier and uglier all the time. It's not been a good start to the preseason for him.
Yeah, not at all. He did not look good in his preseason game. I mean, he was making wrong reads. I thought he was slow. I thought the offensive line didn't really help him out either. But Trey Lance definitely did not get his 2023 campaign off to a hot start. And it's just a fascinating situation because we saw that report pop up earlier in the offseason saying that the 49ers had fielded potential trade calls with interested teams regarding Trey Lance. But there was a lot of people who believed the 49ers put that out themselves, that they were maybe shopping Trey Lance behind the scenes. But where we're at now, it seems like Trey Lance's value in terms of trade value would be pretty low, especially coming off of that Week 1 preseason performance. He's involved in a backup quarterback battle of his own against Sam Darnold, and we know that this front office, from their quotes this offseason, are very high on Sam Darnold. But at the same time, they gave up a lot of trade ammunition for the former number 3 overall pick in Trey Lance. So that's another battle, another quarterback battle that we have to keep our eyes on, because it's a very fair question to ask. Is Trey Lance's future in San Francisco?
Our man Jordan Dajani, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey, talking all things NFL.
Well, this isn't NFL, but it is a former NFL player, and that is the blind side issue. I don't know if you've seen this, but, man, if you have, man, how sad is this story?
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the word, right? Sad. And I will tell everyone this. I mean, don't be quick to take someone's side with this story. There's always 2 sides to every story. And the bottom line is, I think you put it out perfectly, that it's sad. I mean, it's sad if this family was taking advantage of Michael Orr and, using it for their own personal gain, his story. But it's also sad if it's the flip side and maybe the family's in the right and Michael Orr is in the wrong, and, that would be sad as well. So this is definitely a wild story. And I will tell you this. I mean, if you know the real story behind Michael Orr, the movie was pretty creative with what they and flexible with the truth, right? I mean, they made Michael Orr look like the dumb guy in The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler, like he's never seen sports before, and that was just not the truth. So I know that he probably didn't love how he was portrayed, and that maybe led to somewhat of a schism. But, obviously a sad story, as you said.
Well, we, seen some good stories as far as running backs, and that is some high-profile guys in Cook and Zeke Elliott, as well as Darrell Williams with the Saints, all were signed. Man, which one of these running backs do you think brings the most value to the team that they sign with?
Yeah, I think objectively it's Dalvin Cook. I think he's made 4 straight Pro Bowls. He wanted something around $10 million. He settled for $7 million with $1.6 million available in incentives. And if you were curious, the franchise tag this year for running backs pays almost $10.1 million. So Cook's new deal is the richest contract any running back has signed this offseason, not counting those who are franchise tagged. Previously, it was Miles Sanders of the Panthers, who got $6.35 million. Dalvin will be the 9th highest paid running back in the NFL this year. But as I mentioned, no running back has accomplished what he has over the past 4 years. I think 1,100 scrimmage yards over 4 seasons, 4 straight Pro Bowls. He's going to definitely add another element to this offense. Dual threat ability from running up the A-gap to catching out of the backfield for Aaron Rodgers. This was a big-time get for the Jets, especially considering that it seems like they were trying to outbid their division rivals, the hometown Miami Dolphins, for Dalvin Cook. So definitely a great pickup for New York.
I see that the Jets are also pursuing Green Bay's offensive tackle.
Who would that be? I don't know if I've seen that.
Bakhtiari.
Bakhtiari. Yeah, Bakhtiari. Yeah. I saw that.
Wow,
I didn't know if that was real or not, but they were saying they're looking for a tackle, and he kind of fits the bill. For them to even put that name out there, maybe there's some discussion already. I didn't know if that was true or not.
So I haven't seen the story, so I'm not 100% sure, but it would be interesting because the Jets definitely they've really struggled with consistency from the offensive tackle position over the past few years. So that's why it would make sense. It's pretty interesting considering that we're already in August 16th. if a move like this was to come to fruition. I would have guessed it came a little bit earlier. Maybe injuries had something to play with that. But I haven't seen the story, so I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Any inside scoops on why the Ravens and Commanders were getting in so many fights there? Are they just a little too close for comfort, and maybe there's a little bit of vibrato about which team is better? I don't know. They're in the AFC and NFC, but man,
It's like you and the Cowboys in your
Andrews
Oilers
got in a
days.
fight.
Yeah.
I mean, then the receivers and DBs, I'm like, man, this is not 1995.
Yeah, you saw that video of Mark Andrews just picking up the defensive
Man.
back,
Yeah.
his body slamming him on the
I
ground.
was
I
like,
thought I
and
was
then
watching
walked away
WWE.
like, I dare one of y'all to mess with me. I was like, whoa.
And you said it perfectly, man. I mean, too close for comfort. That Ravens-Commanders is somewhat of a legitimate rivalry up there in the Northern Virginia area. There's no doubt about it. And remember, these teams usually play in the preseason, it seems like, because remember the squad that J.K. Dobbins tore his ACL against in the preseason? That happened up in D.C. against the Commanders as well. So it's definitely a bit of a budding rivalry, and I know it's always entertaining when these two teams get together on the practice field.
We're on with Jordan Dajani, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
Biggest storylines for you week 2 of the preseason?
Yeah, I'll give you two. One is the 8th quarterback selected in the draft this year, Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue, I believe, with the Las Vegas Raiders. People did not like him as a prospect because he wasn't fast. He's older. Two things that people put way too much stock into. He's efficient, right? In his first preseason action, he completed 15 of 18 passes, 141 yards, and a touchdown. He's got a quick release. He's making the throws you want rookies to make. I maintain that if Will Levis or Bryce Young did what Aiden O'Connell did in week 1 of the preseason, it would have made national headlines everywhere. I mean, I was looking at film breakdowns. I think this guy was looking off safeties pre-snap for go routes on the opposite side of the field. So very impressed with what I saw out of Aiden O'Connell. More people should keep an eye on him. Number 2, I'm officially in love with Deuce Vaughn, the running back for the Dallas Cowboys. He's probably 5'6" on a good day, right? But he's an absolute playmaker. And I'm starting to wonder if his short stature is almost helping him, right? He kind of disappears and reappears all over the field. And what I saw this weekend was that he headlined this 10-play, 85-yard touchdown drive for Dallas early in the fourth quarter. I mean, he broke loose for a 26-yard run. He caught a pass for 9 yards on 3rd and 3 in the red zone. And then he capped the possession with a 4-yard touchdown scamper as well. So this guy, listen, Dallas is loaded at the running back position. I get that. But if you're a playmaker and you make things happen on the field, they're going to find a role for you on offense. So I'm just fascinated by this kid because he's not the most, physically big guy, but he's someone who's definitely a playmaker. So keep an eye on Deuce Vaughn as we roll through these next 2 weeks of the preseason.
You know what mine is on the way out?
Go for it.
If Blake Grupe, the Saints kicker, formerly of Arkansas State, can get either on or off the field without being hassled by security.
You know what? If I was him, I would walk around with 50 credentials around my neck as I take the field for pregame warm-up. So no one would bother me. That was one of my favorite stories for the weekend. That guy was not rattled by no one knowing who he was, hit the game-winning field goal, and he was still hassled by security as he tried to exit the field.
Again, 4 years, A-State, graduated. Then he slummed it at Notre Dame for a year, but we still claim it. Hey, JD.
Love that.
Great stuff, man. At Jordan Dajani on Twitter is where people can follow you. And then, of course, CBSSports.com. You guys do a fantastic job, you and your colleagues, covering the NFL. And that content just gets churned and turned constantly. There's tons of new stuff. So appreciate you, buddy. And I can't wait to talk about this week 2 next week.
You know it, guys. Appreciate y'all. Have a good show.
Yes, sir.
JD.
All right, Titans are off the field. By all accounts, the defense had a great day. So Kevin Byard spoke to the media, talked about the defense's day. He also got asked about Traylon Burks, kind of his thoughts on what he saw. Again, Traylon Burks injured earlier today, carted off the field, favoring a knee. We don't have any other information right now. We'll see if we can find anything before we sign off. Let's hear from KB next as we wrap things up on Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. 3HL got you coming up next. Kevin Byard and the Tennessee Titans have finished practice against the Vikings. And again, the biggest story today is that Traylon Burks was carted off the field after practice after a long pass reception. Looks like he stumbled and went down. There is video of it. It's the guy was in the stands. It's a long way. It's hard to see anything definitive. There appears to be no new news at this point about Traylon Burks, but there is news from the reporters up there. Sam Phelan and Jim Wyatt and Paul Kaharski is there, as well as Teron Davenport. By all accounts, it looked like the defense had a good day. Let's hear from Kevin Byard first, Lucas, about the defense, and then I know you've got some sound from him as well about what he saw with Traylon Burks. Who is this from so we can attribute it properly?
Teron Davenport,
Okay.
catching up with KB along with other Titans media.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, just from the eye test, I thought it was really, really good. We didn't allow any big plays down the field on defense. They made some plays, but at the end of the day, I feel like we competed our behinds off. You don't really know sometimes off the eye test as far as like the defensive alignment, but we were stuffing the runs. Seemed like we got a couple sacks and obviously 2 men, and we ended with 2 picks. So I thought it was a great day overall for the defense, but we're going to watch the film and find some things to correct.
Changing the scenery and the opponent, how important was it for you to maintain that level of excellence that you guys have had?
Yeah, it's important because, when we're on the road, obviously practice is a different team. The routine is different. We're at a different facility, different locker room. You're sleeping in the hotel. So I think it's definitely big to come out here and start fast, bring our own energy, and I feel like we was able to do that today.
Looked like Rashad Weaver got one of the picks on a tip ball by T.K. McClendon. I've been noticing him on the defensive line.
Oh, yeah. That was the guy who transferred to Eastern Kentucky from LSU, converted tight end to defensive tackle, correct? Is that the same guy?
No, that all sounds correct.
Okay. Yeah. He got some movement skills to him. Yeah. I mean, when you're a veteran player like Byard, he talked about all those other things. I mean, moving into, hotels and all. Man, the juices get to rearing against another jersey, period.
Sure.
Soon as you step on that field, you go, okay, I'm about to let them know who I am. And it resonates through the whole team. You always want to see a different color jersey. So you get tired of going against your same guys. You know all their weaknesses, strengths, and it just gets boring, really. It gets monotonous.
You told me you used to holler out what they're running, right?
Yeah, practice. I'd be yelling out there plays like, you're about to run this. And I'd be on the field. I'm like, Dicey would get mad because I'd be like, hey, you running a curl right here, and I'm not moving. I got deep third. I'm like, you running right here. So, yeah, formations, where they, just tendencies. So, want to get some new team. Exciting, and usually it goes hand in hand. You have a good day. Next day, they're against your defense. They may have a good day or a better day. So it kind of goes like that. It's why you make it through the pros is the competitive spirit and nature. Once you go back and watch the film, you go, oh, okay, this is what they're doing. We're going to do this now. And then you come out and have a better day.
By all accounts, not a great day for Traylon Burks, the Titans receiver, who, again, went down at the end of the play. There was a camera angle that was a long ways away. He didn't run into the DB or anything. It didn't look like. Just looked like he stumbled after the play and went down.
Well, he landed on one leg. Jumped on one leg and landed on
the other. Yeah. Kevin Byard was asked, I would imagine it's very limited availability for players. Kevin Byard was asked, I guess, what he saw in the Traylon Burks injury, his side of that.
Yeah, it's very concerning. Obviously, we don't, know the severity or nothing's confirmed yet. But obviously, I heard about it when we kind of went to special teams, and obviously praying for him, hoping that everything is going well. But he's a big part of what we do as an offense and as a team. So obviously, you want everything to be okay.
It's Kevin Byard. I'll ask you this, Blake. Fans are just freaking out. That's been the whole F&M Bank chat. We got a million tweets about it today. When you're a player, though, I mean, if you're Kevin Byard or Eric Garror or Chris Moore, anybody, I mean, you hate to see your teammate go down, but you got to practice tomorrow. You got a game. You have to keep your business mind together, right?
Oh, no. You're going to check on your teammate, see how he is, give him a call, text, or stop by, see what's going on, ask the trainers what's going on, and then you got to be focused on the task at hand. I mean, you still got a job to do. So as much as you're concerned, at the same time, you feel like you got to elevate your game to help the team be better. And if something, if he has to be out for some extended period of time, you let the GM and the head coach make those decisions and move forward. Maybe they just kind of elevate everybody else at their wide receiver position temporarily. And if not, maybe if he's out for longer than that, then maybe you're looking at other options, but hopefully not. So, that's always a tough deal. But you're not getting Debbie Downer and the whole team is down and everything like that. That doesn't happen. As we saw when we had the King, who was the best player on the team a couple years ago, said they would play really good and be able to manage through that, and they did. So he's the best player, so you can put Burks wherever you want to put him, top 5 or 10 players on the team, but he still hasn't reached the level of potential and he hasn't stayed healthy. So if you're going to have a somewhat significant injury at this point in time, it's always better early in your career than somewhere in the middle. So, yeah.
We'll monitor it. Hopefully, Mike Vrabel actually spoke to the media before practice today, so there's no post-practice Vrabel to give any kind of update that he might have given.
Man, he picked the right day, didn't he?
Sure did. But he spoke before practice. We've already gotten the post. Like they send you a transcript of everything he says. We had it during the show today, so he's already spoken. So even if he speaks before practice tomorrow, whenever he speaks, certainly we'll all be monitoring that, whatever he might say. And Vrabel doesn't typically talk about injuries, but if there's something significant that they know, then I would imagine he would say at that time, If it's significant enough and he knows. There are people speculating on here saying, well, if he tore his ACL, he wouldn't have walked off the field. I've seen guys walk off the field after a torn ACL. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
That's not true. You can't think that.
Mark Robb, my counterpart of Fire and Ice, ran off the field and said, I'm coming back in. I was like, okay, great. Never saw him again.
Yeah.
ACL torn. Partial tear.
Sometimes those things are so swollen they can't even do the surgery for weeks.
Another week.
Yeah, so it takes a while. So, all right, we don't know if any of that's happened, though. Don't leave thinking that. We'll find out what's going on. If anything happens between now and 6, 3HL's got your back, but we got to get.
But in the meantime.
In between time, peace.